You're watching Caribbean Today on YouTube. Caribbean tourism is taking a sobering turn, although the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, recently reported a nearly 2% increase in arrivals for the first half of 2025 and welcomed 18.5 million visitors. This growth came despite a slowdown in demand from its biggest market, the United States. For decades, American travelers have been the engine of Caribbean tourism. They make up nearly half of all visitors, equivalent to 9 million in the first 6 months of this year alone. But now arrivals from the US and other Western nations have flattened. Canada's numbers fell by 9%, Europe's by 5%, and analysts say it's not just about airfare or hurricanes, it's about economic confidence and the new costs of global mobility. Because as the American economy wobbles, the shockwaves are being felt across our islands. At the heart of the issue is a simple trend. The U.S. traveler is pulling back. The most recent ADP employment report showed 32,000 private sector job losses in September, the first net decline of the year. U.S. unemployment now stands at 4.3%, the highest in nearly 4 years. The Federal Reserve may soon cut interest rates again, signaling how fragile the situation has become. Small businesses are cutting back. The leisure and hospitality sector, once a bellwether of U.S. recovery, is now showing weakness. The first things to go, vacations, cruises, and weekend getaways. And as the financial stress grows, Caribbean vacations are becoming a luxury fewer can justify. The same discretionary spending that keeps the Caribbean economy thriving. Volatile markets and political gridlock have made American families uneasy. In the first quarter of 2025, arrivals from North America dipped slightly, about 0.6%, but enough to raise concern. Yet, even that recovery was fragile, driven by temporary events rather than sustained confidence. Growth has moderated, said CTO database administrator Paul Garnes, but the sector continues to move positively forward. Still, he acknowledged the obvious. The U.S. market has weakened. Therefore, the Caribbean has had to compensate by diversifying. Arrivals from South America surged by 25% as new air routes opened and currencies stabilized. Travel from Asia, Africa, and other emerging markets grew by 12%, reaching nearly 3.8 million visitors. But those gains, while promising, can't currently replace the scale or spending power of the American traveler. The U.S. remains the anchor, and when that anchor drags, the entire ship feels the pull. At the same time, another policy decision in Washington is creating new issues for Caribbean travelers attempting to come into the U.S. The visa integrity fee, originally set to take effect on October 1, under the One Big Beautiful Bill signed by President Donald Trump in July. The $250 surcharge has been delayed with no confirmed implementation date. But when it begins, and officials at the Department of Homeland Security say it most definitely will, it will apply to all non-visa waiver countries, including Jamaica and most of the Caribbean. That means every Caribbean visitor applying for a U.S. visa will pay the new $250 security deposit on top of the existing $185 application fee, a combined total of $435 per person. For a Jamaican family of 4, that's an additional $1,000 in extra fees just to visit the United States. Officials say the surcharge funds border enforcement and discourages visitors from overstaying, and that it's refundable for those who leave the country on time. But critics warn it's essentially a security tax that punishes lawful travelers and disproportionately impacts low-income Caribbean families. And with no clear process yet for claiming refunds, many fear that the money will never find its way back to the pockets of ordinary people. Immigration advocates have called the measure a deterrent disguised as security. Economists, meanwhile, warn it could further dampen U.S. Caribbean travel, cutting into tourism, family visits, and business exchanges that are the lifeblood of regional connectivity. The economic slowdown in the United States, the cooling labor market, rising prices, and the new barriers to Caribbean travel are signs that the region needs to adapt to a changing global climate. These shifts in tourism and consumer habits are clear indicators that the Caribbean needs to move away from an economic model that is reliant on the American consumer. At CaribbeanToday.com, we cover your world.